first episode of Dry Run here on Cloudflare Developers YouTube, Cloudflare TV, and Twitter, wherever you're coming in from. We're going to take some time here right now. I'm with the wonderful Sunil Pai, who is the master of squirrels, as I've heard. The
Lord of the Squirrels. Lord.
Lord
I'm
of the Squirrels.
British.
I'm so sorry.
British
I'm sorry.
Lord.
Lord of the Squirrels. I'm sorry, I gave you a little demotion there. We have got some great stuff going on right now. Sunil, let's share. Let's try to share this out. Let's get as many people here as we possibly can, because I need to make sure this is going. This is our first time going. I see that Cloudflare Dev says that it's live. If you go to that page, we've got some people there already. I'm going to go ahead and try to figure out if I can retweet this as well. And we should have some people in YouTube too. We're going live over on YouTube. I'm gonna write hello everybody to YouTube. We'll get chatter from YouTube on the Cloudflare Devs channel, which you should like and subscribe over there if you haven't, because lots of good content. This is a thing that Sunil and I have been talking about doing for years, and we are so excited to bring this to you because it is an exciting day that we are having today. In fact, one of the most exciting that I think I don't think I've seen the LFG tag as many times as I have in chat this week. And Sunil, what happened this morning?
Uh, I was really looking forward to today because I finally got a copy of the Clerk soundtrack on CD and I got to listen to that. That's been the highlight of my day, man. No, I'm joking, of
Well,
course.
anything
Today,
else?
and something else. So, um, great
Wait, what's on that
soundtrack
soundtrack?
from
Before we
the
start,
US universe.
Sunil, what's on that soundtrack?
Huh?
What's on that soundtrack? I don't even
So
remember.
it's no, so it's basically like 90s uh alt rock stuff, like Alice in Chains,
Nice.
Chewbacca. Like there's just so much. Like the View Askew universe. Like Kevin Smith has made like some great movies, Dogma, Clerks, all of that. But his choice of music for all the movies has been amazing. And Clerks was his first movie. And
So good.
well, Jay and Silent Bob, all of that. And I've decided to start a project where I only listen to media before the year 2000 now and on CD,
Uh,
uh, and even watching movies before the year 2000. So I got Clerks. Today was Clerks, and it's a good disc.
was there a scratch on the CD? Or did you is that like that's a new thing to
All
reintroduce into your
CDs
life?
have like some scratches, and that's just it. Like there's a part of it where this media will deteriorate, and I think that's also special about it. Like I don't actually mind it. I'm deteriorating. Like my back hurts, bro. Like I act like a child, but I'm 41, and it's because I have great skin that people can't tell, and I still like. But all the whites are coming in, everything. One of the like that's just what I'm waiting for is to get like the beard whites like you do. That makes
Yeah.
it look a lot
Yeah.
sexier. Like that works.
Oh, thanks. Oh, I think that was a compliment of some
That
sorts
was a
there that just
compliment.
came
You
through.
saw what I did there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So
Anyway,
everybody, welcome. Welcome to Dry Run. We're talking with Sunil today because something else happened other than the Clerk soundtrack. Sunil, what happened this morning?
today we announced our first step into officially into the AI agent world. Like Cloudflare now has a library called Agents SDK uh, that uh, takes the very unique primitives that Cloudflare has of the platform and lets you build AI agents with it. And we'll dive into the detail there, but I think it's a fairly unique take that separates it from anything else out there for like a number of reasons. Some of the reasons are because it's cutting edge tech. Some of the reasons are because it's based on tech that's like 50 years old. Um, and I'm quite excited about it because just honestly, in the last few weeks, I've been building small apps with it. I've been able to build things I never thought possible, not just because of AI models, but because of like marrying it to these primitives. And we'll go into that in a bit. But as of
Yeah,
today,
for sure.
yeah, we have the NPM library out. The docs page on developers.cloudflare.com/agents has been heavily updated, rewritten from scratch. Thanks, Matt and Rita. And We have a blog post that went out there that goes into detail. Along with agents, we also made the workers AI platform a lot more powerful. So we fixed a bug where the context windows weren't as big as they were for making requests, but that's fixed now. So you can make really big queries on workers AI. and the workers AI provider, which is, like there's the AI SDK. Like it's basically,
Hmm.
I'm a big fan of it. It's the jQuery of
That's
building
awesome.
AI apps, is what I call it.
Yeah.
Uh, the adapter for making that work with workers AI just got upgraded. Thanks, Andy. He worked on it. So that it supports like function calling, tool calling, more models, structured outputs, lots of fun stuff. So it's a big day, but it also feels like day one of like a very big journey ahead of us. That's why I'm like so excited. I'm like, yeah, this is the move.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And man, you've been thinking about this stuff for so long. I love following you on Twitter. Everybody should follow you on, or I'm sorry, on X, 3.1 or Blue Sky. What's your Blue Sky?
3.0.
3.1. So 3.1, all spelled out. 3.1.
I want to wait.
And
Let me do that because so my name is Sunil Pai, and that's the value of
mhm,
pi. But it's the
uh,
stupidest name to have as an account ID because the way you need to tell it to other people is it's 3.1, all words, no numbers, no periods. And they're like, what did you just say? And like, no, it's THREEPOINTONE. That's just the worst thing to give your handle. But I'm like stuck with it for the rest of my life.
I never even saw it. I thought it was a Windows 3.1 joke.
I have used that reference. Also old enough to know what that means. I've used it. It was good. It was good tech.
So on your presence, you've been thinking about this space for a long time. So this must feel good to get out, and you've been thinking about it in a sort of a deeper way than I appreciate following you because I'm like, oh, he's right. I haven't thought about that. Can you? There's people in here in the audience who are like, what is all this agent stuff? They're seeing commercials. Matthew McConaughey's talking about agents, right? Like we're
Are you
talking about
serious?
agents a lot.
Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah. There's a Salesforce commercial where he's talking about agents and the importance of agents, and the Woody
Matthew
Harrelson,
McConaughey
like,
is doing Salesforce commercials.
yes, sir,
Dude,
yes,
where are
sir.
our movie stars, man? Come on. Like, I wouldn't mind like hanging out with. Dude, I don't even know what movie stars are around. I only watch movies from before the year 2000. I don't know. Steve Martin, man. Let's get Steve Martin to do an
Yeah,
ad for
I would
Cloudflare.
love to get Steve Martin to do an agent talk. All right, so here let's talk about where are we at before we look at the stuff, before we look at it. Let's get to talk about where we're at and where we're headed. Like what are agents? Let's get simple. Let's get simple there. Where's your head at there?
Okay. I think of it in terms of like levels of agency or agentic nature. At the very base, right, is a single call that you can make to these large language models, these god computer things. You can make it a you can ask it a question in natural language and it replies to you. Okay, that's you call this a function call, a query, a prompt, whatever it is. You go one step above that and you can do multiple LLM calls, either in a row or like as a routing, and you can do chains of those calls. These are things that a lot of people call workflows. So this is in the nature of saying something like you want to do analysis. So hey, first go to Google, find the first 20 results for a particular search thing, go into those pages, pull all that data out. So then the second step is the scraping part. The third part is, hey, take all the data from it and convert it into like structured data, like maybe tables of data, all of that. Then another is run some other function call on it that compresses it, generates a graph. Then your final step is, okay, fine, put this into a report. Now,
Right.
the neat this has been software that people have been writing for decades. The neat thing
Yeah.
is the LLM can figure it out instead of you having to write precise code. It's very good at converting data from unstructured to structured between different formats and then back to like a report where it's like, hey, we analyze the data and this is what we think, right? But this is
Right.
what
And
we call like the
summarize.
workflow. Yeah, right? Like you can do a bunch
Yeah,
of them.
yeah, yeah.
Then there's something called the decision loop. This is
Mhm.
where it starts getting interesting. This is somewhere in between what I consider a workflow and an actual agent, where uh, instead of you writing out which steps it should do, you tell figure out the steps. And I'm
Good.
giving
You
you
you figured out.
you
Yeah.
figure it out. I'm giving you
Yeah.
capabilities. Here's an
Right.
API to go to a browser. Here
Yeah.
is uh, here is an API that does math.
Yep.
Here's an API into which you can put in code and it'll run the code for you and return the result. So you just give it
Yeah.
capability. You just say, hey, here are some features, do
Right.
the thing. And like,
Right. And for
depending
those
on
and
how
for the
stupid.
that's
Hmm?
that's like tool calling, right? That's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that's that's where
but
where
it's more
yeah.
about like agency. At this point, you're starting to give your computer agency,
Yeah.
right? Where you say,
Yeah.
you figure until you get the goal of a report that answers this question, don't come back to me. That's different from a workflow where you write code where you say, hey, first do this, do this, do this. And then there's
Right.
what I call an agent. And that's
Right.
what we just announced today, which is
Yes.
the entity that contains state that you can actually ask questions to, that can hibernate, that can reach out back to a human if it needs. Uh, like, if it's like, okay, fine, I'm booking your flight tickets, give me your credit card numbers, quick, quick, quick. Which is, by the way, super dangerous, but that's the journey we're on making it safe.
Right.
So that's the part where you have effectively 100% agency to do what you want. And it can be proactive. And what does proactive mean? It can, if you keep giving it a stream of data, at some point, let's say you've said, hey, like, I want you to look after my health. Like, hey, you've already had about 2,400 calories today and it's just 6 p.m. Maybe you're done for the day. Like agency.
Right.
Agency is about like emergent behavior from these interesting systems.
Right.
And that's what I think of as an agent. And then there's a higher level where we talk about agent farms or swarms or orchestration amongst many, many agents that are doing different things, not just top down, but like amongst themselves. Some people call these orchestration. But again, there's orchestration at a workflow level where you write the code to do it. And then there's fully agentic, goal driven orchestration. You say, run my business.
Right.
Kind of scary, right?
Right.
Uh,
Right.
and these are the levels of, I think about it in terms of agency. How much agency are you giving your silicon to take decisions like on this thing? And you start from nothing, almost nothing, all the way until fully automated. Does that help? Is that a good answer? I don't know.
I
Maybe.
I liked it a lot. And so the going to build these things, this is a concept that everybody's after, right? Like everybody literally, like we've seen commercials, right? I went to log into Workday today, and Workday
Mhm.
had our new agent, so it's everywhere, right? People are thinking about this. This is important. You're going to be asked to build this, as a dev, you're going to be asked to build that. And I have looked and played around in some different packages, and I am so glad I started playing just a little bit with this thing. I'm so glad. It's so great. Let's talk about what we announced today to enable people to do that. What's the best way to do that? Should we go blog post? What do you feel?
Let
You
me
want to share
just
the
give you a
blog
little bit
post?
of a brain dump first, just quickly before
Okay.
we get into it.
Okay. Before we show docs, let's do it.
I
Do
mean,
it.
okay, so I talked about, oh, like do the thing. I want to be a little more specific about why I think it's interesting. Like, why are agents a big deal? Let's just talk about that, like, for a quick second.
Let's do that. Yeah. Why is it happening? That's great.
What,
That's an
like,
excellent.
why are agents such a big deal? Like, everyone told me crypto is a big deal, and I didn't believe them then, but I think agents are a big deal. Why? Okay, so this
Right.
is, and I'm going to use the most boring explanation that I can use to do it. Okay, so
Okay.
the idea is, uh, what is a business, bro? What is a business? So a business is basically a Rube Goldberg machine that you set up that is made of people and software and maybe factories. And what you can do is you can put in $1 on one side and it spits out $2 from the other. Okay? And then your job is to manipulate that Rube Goldberg machine so that it spits out $3 or that it uses less electricity and resources. You want to build a and you keep like operating on it. And why does it require software and people? It's because the inputs to this Rube Goldberg machine, other than the $1, is unstructured data from the world, opinions, people who want to buy things. Uh, Inside the Rube Goldberg machine, you're converting data of like from one team to another team to another person, maybe generating reports. And then effectively, you're like generating reports and analysis and taking decisions on them, right? So this is why people have this is why non-tech companies have software teams, because they build software that runs the business. Like, why does Nike have
Hmm.
a massive software engineering team? Because there's all this system of sweatshops in Asia and
Oops.
sneakers, the people who buy sneakers all across the planet. I'm just saying that's the
Right.
business that they've constructed. It's kind of profitable, is what I hear. I don't recommend it. It would kill me, but
Yeah.
hey, it's what they do. Um, Okay, what are LLMs good at that we just discussed? They're very good at converting unstructured data into structured data,
Yep.
converting data from one format to another, and converting structured data back into unstructured data. And you give them a little agency and they can run all the systems. That is why agents are a big deal. Automation systems, which the planet runs on, it's how industrialization happened, it's how the information age happened, is on the verge of effectively just being powered by silicon and electricity. Like, you can just throw it at it, which leaves the human condition something else to like aspire towards. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are billionaires who are trying to capture that value, but I'm, 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 I don't approve of that behavior. Okay, so what did Cloudflare just do? Uh, Cloudflare is a very unique um, software platform in the sense that they do it a little differently from everyone else. And you and I know this, but for the sake of everyone else, like,
Yeah, let's
instead
do it.
of the idea of regions and data centers and all that, you have to think about the Cloudflare network as a planetary compute. Like, it's almost like it's one computer that just
Hmm.
covers the planet.
Sunil,
And
wait, 1 second. Are you trying to say, what are you trying to say there? What's the quote that you're trying to say might be a registered trademark?
uh,
The
wait, what?
network is, the
Oh, the
network
network
is,
is the computer, exactly.
there you go. There
For
you go.
those who are listening and who might not be as old as we are, that was originally something coined by Sun Microsystems, and we actually bought it from Sun, and it gladly, like, we didn't like hostile takeover it. The Rosling, etc., like, are big fans. The network is the computer. It's basically one planetary computer that you take, and this computer has many interesting capabilities. Of course, you can write serverless functions, which is like a JavaScript function that takes a request and a response, but you can spin up a browser, like, and automatically you can make it like browse the internet for you on the platform, which is very cool. It runs on the edge, this browser. We have crazy storage systems for saving giant files or key value stores, databases, all of that. But my favorite one is something called durable objects.
Hmm.
Fun fact, I heard about durable objects when I was out drinking with a buddy. I used to work in a bank that I was not happy at about 5 years ago. It was basically, I want to say, August 2020. And that's when Cloudflare announced the beta of durable objects publicly. Until then, I hadn't heard of this company, bro. I was like, oh, they do DNS and stuff. And I was like, wait,
Yeah.
what the hell is this? I've never seen anyone else do this. And I'll talk about what durable objects are. So immediately I got on Twitter and started like pestering people. And I know Rita Kozlov, she responded. She's like, "Fine, I'll give you access to it." And I was like, "Oh, wait, let me make an account before you give me access to it." So I didn't do that. I'm like four drinks
Wow.
down at this
Your
point.
first
I'm like,
product.
yeah, I'm looking at the phone. I'm like, oh, this. Um, I tried it out, and I hated the developer experience so much that I started complaining about it. And a couple of months later, they were like, "Stop complaining. Do you want a job to come fix it?" So I basically
Wow.
came and like helped build out Wrangler, the developer CLI. I was doing my first stint at Cloud. Anyway, back to durable objects. Okay, so
Yeah.
serverless functions are these things where if you make a request for an HTML page or something, it spins up a little thing, takes your request, generates the HTML, sends it to you, and it dies. Okay, this is how
Right.
serverless, or most serverless providers is.
Yeah.
The way we do it is unique because we have zero startup time, la la la. Cool. Like,
Right.
I mean, this is the Cloudflare podcast, so I can't be accused of shilling too much.
No,
You
you're
folks are here,
supposed
so
to.
we get to talk about it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
durable objects are interesting in that instead of a function, you basically define a class. And for a request for a given ID, which can be like a chat room name, or it can be an agent ID, or anything like that, it spins up this computer and it stays. It's basically like a tiny mini computer that has state that you can make multiple requests to, that multiple people can connect to, and that's why it's really good for building multiplayer systems. Shout out to TL Raw. I think they were my first big team that I helped uh, ship their multiplayer onto like durable objects.
Right.
Uh,
And TL draws the multiple people come on and they draw a lot of people are building on that and sharing stuff out there. It's
yeah, yeah,
super
and that's
cool.
powered fully by durable objects.
Nice.
Every shared room is one durable object that all these WebSockets, etc., connect to. All of that. So it's like a little
And
computer that. Hmm?
it's an instance, right, of that class.
It's an instance of that class, exactly. For
Right.
every given ID, it basically does in the background, we do new class of that and we stick it and it sticks, it spins up closest to you. So if everyone's like in the same time zone, you'll see like 20, 30 millisecond like latency, sometimes lower. It's crazy. So you can build
Yeah.
this crazy real-time syncing. And the programming model is not really distributed programming. It's running on one thread. So, for example, all the WebSockets are like in an array. So you can, if you want to like broadcast a message to all WebSockets, it's a for loop. It's crazy. Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It made a
Yeah.
front end dummy like me like really powerful to be able to build like really interesting things in JavaScript.
They,
Okay.
they say that you are an influencer, a durable object influencer. That's the word on the street.
See, the big problem with being a durable object influencer and already working in the company is that I can't get them to give me free shit. Like all the shit is free already. Like otherwise, influencers get like flight tickets and
Right. Right. What do you
free
want?
like cosmetics and all of that. You
Do you want
have
a
the
shirt that,
Cloudflare swag you're wearing that I haven't got. Like,
dude?
how do I get that fucking thing?
I'll get it for you. I'll get it for you. I want to get you a shirt that says the network is the computer. That is my
That would be
goal, to
dope.
get you a shirt that says the network is the computer.
That
So,
would be dope.
right.
I would like that very much. Anyway, okay, so durable objects. So
Yeah.
we have this technology that for a given thing can spin it up. And the nice thing about it is you can keep it running even if no one's connected to it. There are no requests coming to it. You can spin it up on an alarm. Like you can set up a thing that says, hey, wake up in like 30 minutes or 40 days, which is not a set timeout. It's literally a thing that can spin up. And when there's no IO happening, it can like shut down so it doesn't live like it's not expensive. It doesn't like there are no like billions of it just running with like dead air. No. If there's no work happening on it, then like it goes back to sleep, which is
So
incredibly fast.
it feels like a container, but you don't pay for it like a container. Is that the
Bro, forget about just paying it like a container. You don't have to write YAML. You know what I mean? You don't have
yeah.
to.
Right.
It's just a
Right. Like
JavaScript class that like spins up. No, no YAML,
yeah.
no nothing. And each of
Right.
these durable objects has its own little SQLite database inside it that persists to disk.
Yeah.
It has
And
these alarms. Huh?
and that local is important, right? It's like literally local.
Oh yeah,
It
literally local, 20
yeah.
milliseconds away from you. Like where that instance spins up, that's where the database is. And this is spread across the planetary compute, the computer network. It's kind of
Right.
crazy as a concept. Okay,
Yeah.
so Cloudflare had this. Cloudflare shipped this 4 years ago. A big question with durable objects has been, well, what is it good for? Should I serve my website from it? And you're like, well, no, serverless is probably a better pattern for that. There's nothing stateful in that. Uh, the first time I quit from Cloudflare, I basically quit and started my startup called PartyKit, which basically took durable objects and said, okay, y'all are building multiplayer systems with it. Things like TL Draw, game sessions, uh, editing, collaborative editors, etc., etc. And it was a good fit for that. And then I came back to Cloudflare, and the timing was interesting. Actually, I feel like we were a little late to it. I was like, wait, everyone's
How
talking.
did wait, how did you come back to Cloudflare?
I just walked back in, and nobody. They were like, oh, are you, are you back? And I was
Were
like,
you
I'm
gone?
not left. I was just having like lunch. That's how I came back. They're like, okay. And I was like, oh, my
Hello
email
party.
isn't working. And they're like, oh, it's disabled. We'll just re-enable it for you. And I'm like, yeah, I just got back in. I walk into HR and I'm like, oh, I didn't get my pay slip this month. They're like, oh, big mistake on our part. We'll fix it for you. That's how I came back. No, I got
Nice.
acquired back last year in April.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Uh,
Congratulations.
and it's been weird. Like I just like said, because for the I built the startup, of course, on Cloudflare, and I was in direct contact with
Right.
everyone in Cloudflare.
Yeah.
So I came back and they were like, "Cool, man. Like we already talk twice a week. Like what's changed?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's fair. Like I guess." Uh, anyway, so I've been puttering around and doing I was puttering around doing a bunch of things, and then I realized the thing that we have with durable objects. Okay, so durable objects, even though they seem very cool and innovative, they're based on very old tech, something
Hmm.
called the actor model. By the way, I want to get durable objects swag that says actor on the front and model in the back. I think that would be good.
Oh,
That would be
all
good.
right. All
Or
right. I'm
actor.
making notes.
I don't know, like something. We need to get some durable objects swag because durable objects
Yeah.
itself is not a very good name, but it's fine. Maybe because it's a bad name, everyone kind of knows what it is. I don't know.
Yeah. You have to learn it, lean into it a little bit.
Okay, so the idea of something that spins up, that has its own persistence and can run its own code in the background starts to sound suspiciously
Hmm.
similar to what we were talking about, what agents can do.
Right.
They can have agency, they connect to a model, and they have intelligence, they have
Yep.
persistence, and you can give them goals and targets.
Yep. Yep.
And the moment that struck me, and I was like, wait, this is how we do automation systems. Look, automation systems out there, right? Right, very much revolve around the idea of a workflow right now. Okay, fairly explicit things, and there are like a lot of players in the market, some very big ones, some smaller ones, and those are useful. And I think a lot of people they conflate the two terms right now, agent and like workflow.
Yeah. Let's undo that again real quick. Real quick. Undo agent workflow real quick.
So like we said, like a workflow is what you would consider a fairly deterministic sequence of actions that has a start and an end.
Hmm.
But you go higher up the chain, higher up the agency level, it's not deterministic. Inputs are flowing in all the time. You might give it like some goals, but there might not be any explicit code that defines how to get to a target. You just give it capabilities, right? You say, hey, here's access to the database, here's access to this, you can do this, and figure it out. And you want a container to run this code. And ideally, that container is not Kubernetes or Docker or whatever it is. You want these lightweight things that you can spin up that could
Yeah.
potentially, and that's the other thing. The moment you're talking about an for agents, these are things that could last forever, bro. Like imagine having a personal agent for your life. Are you telling me it runs for 3 days? No, dude, I want it to run until like my deathbed. I want to
It's all
bequeath,
done. Yeah.
I want to bequeath my agents to
Right.
uh, my children when I pass away. You know what? Like with all this context that I've gained, the wisdom that I've
Yeah, for
gained,
sure. For
right?
sure, man, because they're gonna get better too, right? Like all that input's gonna make it better. It's gonna be great, especially by the time that time comes. Uh
Exactly.
somebody in chat on Twitter just said serverless classes? Question mark exclamation point.
Question
Yeah.
mark exclamation. I know, right?
Yeah.
That's what I
Yeah.
saw 4 years ago. I'm like, what's happening here?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's
Yeah.
stateful serverless. That's where you stick the
Right.
state.
And it I mean, I'm gonna say I'll say it. I'll say it. You're talking like this thing's gonna live forever. There's it's just gonna be there. The state's gonna be there. I can talk to it. It can come to life. It's there.
Yes. It's there forever.
So
Right, sure.
what? All right. I think we're ready to look. Can you pull the blog up? Can you walk the blog? Is it time to walk the blog?
Sure. Let's do that. Let's share my screen. Wait, let me open up the blog post first. Blog.cloudflare.com. I'm also going to, I keep getting pinged. I don't know if you can hear my pings, and I'm just going to like say, do not
It's
disturb.
not coming through here.
Okay, I'm just going to do that. Uh, cool. Now let's share my screen. Entire screen. Okay. I assume you can see my
All
screen now.
right.
Okay.
Yep.
So
Make that a little bit bigger. Pump that. Give that two pumps. There we go.
phrasing, dude, phrasing. Anyway, so Cloudflare, making Cloudflare the best platform for building AI agents. Um, let's literally just walk through the blog post. How does that
Let's
sound?
do it.
Right. So we talk about how as engineers, we are obsessed with efficiency and automating. And honestly, that's been the thing. Software was invented for automation, and its goal is automation. Like that's we want to make our little robots do things for us. And today we are announcing Agent SDK, which is the JavaScript framework. That word framework, it's an interesting word.
Mm.
Uh, of course, you and I, we have been calling it Agent Framework because it becomes AF, so that's cool.
Right.
Should
Agents AF.
we get a? The problem with that subdomain is that it's been taken over by the Taliban, so you can't really
Oh
buy
no.
.af domains anymore. I think.
We got
Uh,
to we got to shout out for personal agents, which I know is something that you think about that a lot. So
Exactly.
somebody
So
here
I've
on
been
YouTube,
thinking.
yeah,
I call it. There are two types of AI. There's personal AI and there's professional AI. They're both called PAI. That's what I think. Uh,
yeah,
okay.
and whose last name is that?
I don't know, man. I don't know. It sounds like a dumb name. Okay. So we announced our little JavaScript framework. We made updates to Workers AI, and the Workers AI provider is here. And if we actually go into defining what agents are, we can say, hey, agents are non-linear, not deterministic. Workflows are linear, deterministic. And copilots are this idea of something that works alongside like humans. We go into an example where in a traditional automation system for like booking a vacation, etc., there are like multiple steps that you go through. If there was a copilot, it would every step you would go through this. The word copilot, of course, took off when VS Code introduced its LLM powered autocomplete. I want to say two,
Right.
3 years ago. But then an agent is something that has agency. You just give it input, it has access to tools, and it keeps doing things until it reaches like a goal. If you want to get started with Agent SDK, of course, there's the package that you can npm install. But the real one-liner to get started is npm create Cloudflare latest agent start with a template at Cloudflare/agent starter. Copy paste this, it'll give you a full project with Vite and React and Tailwind and the chat agent already ready to go. In fact, do you want to like see what it looks like?
Do it, man. Run it. Do it live. This show, by the way, is called Dry Run, and we are just gonna go for it. We're gonna YOLO here.
I've told you this before. I'll tell it again. Trirun is such a good name for a tech bro podcast, and I've always wanted to be a tech bro with a podcast. Let's just
You've
clear
done
this
it. You've
history.
made it. Now all you need is the shirt. Maybe that'll be the shirt.
I need the swag. Uh, anyway, okay. So the default starter kit has is basically a chatbot, and chat is interesting because some people might think it's too simple, but it's actually quite powerful. It's a very interesting way of interacting with LLMs because you can speak to it, etc. And we think, and I'll go into like why the starter kit is interesting. But let's actually like walk through it right now. What are some of the
Yeah.
features that you have? Of course, it responds like an LLM would. So I say, let me put up the font size here too. So say, hey, how can
Yeah.
I assist you today? And you can talk to it like it's a human, like you're a dummy. Are you doing well? I am just a virtual assistant. Sure, whatever. A couple of things that it does is it comes inbuilt with some functionality for doing what we call human in the loop. And
Okay.
what that means is it'll ask you for intervention before it does a thing, like as a confirmation step. And we have a very simple
Which
one
is
set here.
important.
Hmm?
Like, let's talk about that real quick. Why is that important? Why
Well,
is this
there
human in
are
the loop
some
important?
actions that you don't want an LLM to take until it validates with you whether it's the right thing to do. Using your
Right.
credit card to buy tickets.
Hmm.
Or maybe it's just, yeah, usually it has to do with something that you're spending actual money on.
Right.
But it could have to do with login. Like, hey, it comes across a browser page and it needs you to put in a username password before it can proceed. It's called human in the loop. In the decision loop that the agent takes, it comes across something that needs a human, and it reaches out to you. You jump in and you go forward with that. So this example we have adapted from an example from the Vercel AI SDK, human in the loop example, where if you ask it, "What's the weather in London?" At which point it stops and it asks for your approval whether to make a call to the get weather information function with the parameter city London. God,
Nice.
I love LLM so much. Uh, the nice thing about this is, and I want to demonstrate this to you, is first of all, if I like refresh my page, it's all persisted, and this is persisted on the server. So much so that if I go here and actually, let's say, kill the server, right, like it's dead,
Right.
and let's say I start it up again, right, and I come back here, you'll see it's still back at the human. And it can like, so what that
There.
means is that when it's
Yeah.
waiting for human intervention, remember we spoke about how durable objects can like go to sleep when nothing is happening. It can go to
Yeah.
sleep for minutes, hours, days until you get to it and click the approve button and it carries on. It says, hey, the
Because
well-being manager. Hmm?
it's got it stored in state because that's
Exactly,
its
like it's
state.
persisted into that SQL database that we have, right? So it's
Right.
all set up. That comes out of the box with the starter kit. Like all of this just works. Also, another thing that's nice is we have synchronization. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Safari and uh, and if I type something here, I say, tell me more about London. Sure. You'll see that it actually synchronizes across chats. Here it actually waits for the whole answer. Come on, finish
Right.
it. Maybe we should do per token syncing. It would be nice if we had that. But you'll see that it actually synchronizes at both. Now I'm going to go
Wow.
here and I'm going to say thank you. And again, like it just synchronizes nicely across it. So multiplayer is
Yeah.
nice. You could build multiplayer AI chat, but the immediate thing is multi-device. Like if you're on your phone and your laptop, you
Yeah.
make sure that it shows the same thing, which is super
You
nice,
need that at all times, right? Yeah. You need to be able
right?
to to talk to your agent wherever you are. That's cool.
That's right. So, and right here you see that it pops up a little box, but there's nothing stopping you from making it a push notification. Or there's nothing stopping
Right.
you from sending like, because you control the code that runs in this agent. And this is something you can't do with a workflow, right? Like, that's what I
Yeah.
mentioned. Like, this has a whole server that is serving this thing. You can, uh, sorry, you can send an
It-
email, bro. Like if no one is connected, if it detects no WebSocket connections, like okay, fine, I'm going to send an email asking for confirmation, and
oh, that's
you should be
great.
able to reply to that email saying, yeah, go ahead, tell me what the weather is
And
going
then
to
it
be,
goes. Yeah. And of
right?
course, you know, emails safe on that side because it's you. You've got access to. Wow, that's cool, man.
That should be the next demo I think we do here for the starter kit. Like we should just add email
Yeah.
responses onto this. I think that would be dope. Okay, so
As an
we
old
have
Twilio
human.
head, I think we should get text in there too. As an old Twilio
Dude,
head.
screw that. I'm 41. We should get phone calls in here. Like your agent
Yeah.
should be able to make a phone
Yeah,
call,
man.
right?
Love it. I love
Right.
it.
Okay. So we have human in the loop, and potentially you can do asynchronous stuff like with email. The other thing that we have is what I'm calling scheduling, uh, which is you should be able to schedule things that happen in the future. And when I say future, it
K-
can be, you should be able to specify it in terms of time. You should be able to specify it in terms of a date, or you should be able to specify it in terms of a pattern. So, for example, you should be able to say, hey, every Friday evening, uh, remind me to call my mother. I actually speak to her way more often than that. It's because I love her.
Yeah.
But yeah, it actually sets it
Oh,
up. And we're going to do, of course, it's not Friday evening right now. This is Tuesday evening.
right.
But I'm
Right.
going through it to show you, to get to a thing which is like much nicer to the thing. But this has now scheduled a task that will actually trigger every Friday evening and it'll actually pop up. And you want to see
And
like
so
what a pop up, sorry,
you parse. How'd you do that?
how did I do
What's the?
that?
Yeah.
So we have set it up and you know what, I can just show you the code, bro. I keep forgetting that I have the code to show you. Uh,
Gonna need to increase the font size,
yeah,
please.
bro,
Thank
I
you.
get it. 4 eyes. Huh, anyway, so there's a file here
Wait,
called.
before we start, can you try to you said I was having a hard time understanding earlier. You were saying squirrel and I didn't hear you. When you say you said schedule, can you say it in the American accent? Because you have an American accent that
Dude,
you can
it
do pretty good.
depends on the time of day and week. Sometimes I say schedule, sometimes I say schedule.
Okay.
Uh,
I wanted a thicker American accent on it than that.
is it schedule or schedule in American?
Schedule. It's like a hard sked.
Schedule. The
Oh,
other
that's a
one, and
beautiful
you all
accent.
missed this that I was talking, is I mentioned that my official title at a previous company was I called myself Lord of the Squirrels. And this dude doesn't recognize. He's like, "What did you say? Was it?" So I need to roll my R's where I say squirrel, squirrel, squirrel,
Ooh,
squirrels, Lord
that's
of
a
the
really
Squirrel.
good.
Okay, cool. So once you get the starter kit, if you can just leave the UI as it is, and you move immediately into the tools file, and you start giving it capabilities. So you can implement uh, get local time. Here it always returns 10 a.m. You know what? We can fix that right now and say new date to local time string, and it'll return to you this thing. Of course, it does it for where the server is running. So you probably want to do some time
Right.
zone math here, which is famously very easy to do. Um, you can do stuff that requires the way that we, and again I copied this from the AI SDK, the way that you can build a function that requires human in the loop. So here is get local time. You give it the description parameters as a schema with this library called Zod, and an execute function for, hey, like once it gets that, how does it do it? But if you want to do something that has human in the loop, you do description and parameters, but you don't give it an execute function. You go down
Mm,
here to this little executions object we have and you put it there. And we have set up the code such that it recognizes this pattern, and anytime it bumps into something that doesn't have execute, it asks for confirmation. And once you do confirmation, it calls the function with the same name in executions. So simple. Okay.
beautiful.
So you can chuck like 100 functions into this to make your AI agent have 100 capabilities. Now,
Awesome.
for the scheduling, it's very simple. Again, like you give it a description, say schedule a task to be this thing, and there are three types. You can do scheduled, which is in after at a particular date and time. You can say, hey, it's delayed in terms of seconds, or you can give it a cron pattern, which is a way of describing repeating patterns in time. And our magic LLM takes this and figures it out. And the agent has a schedule function. This is the thing that we shipped, where you're able to
Nice.
set based on either a delay or a date or a cron pattern, you're able to schedule a function that has to be run on the uh, on the agent itself.
On the
And funny,
instance of the agent.
sorry,
On the instance of the
on
agent,
the
because that
instance of the
agent's.
agent. So now let's look
Oh
at what
man,
the
that is
agent
so cool.
instance looks like. So we have our little AI chat agent, and we have set up execute task to basically take that description that we had given and put it back into the chat, at which point the AI takes over. So let me show you a demo of how that works. So here we did every Friday evening, but instead I'm going to say, uh, send me a haiku about cloud computing in 10 seconds. Okay. So
Mm,
once I press 10 seconds, press enter, it's going to tell me that it scheduled it, and then we'll count for 10 seconds, and then it should, you'll see, send me a haiku about, uh, it'll come back, and the styling is a little different, and then you'll see it send you a haiku. You could also make
nice.
it do further tasks. You could make it a chain, by the way. That's the fun thing. Okay, so I'm going to press enter. All right. Okay, one, two. Okay, so it did the thing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
There it
See,
is.
here's your
Nice.
haiku, my guy. Pretty sweet.
Nice. That's so cool. That's
So,
yeah.
and again, this thing can keep running in the background. You don't need to keep your browser open. You can access it from another device. It's all happening in the AI agent instance in our server inside this durable object. That's what makes it
That's so
cool,
cool. That's so
right?
cool. And can you talked in the beginning about like orchestrators, and so agents can talk to agents.
Correct. So what we shipped today is a way of writing these agents. And we have little APIs for instantiating these agents. And you can, you know how you expose these functions on the class? You can expose
Hmm.
anything, right? Which is send email, sure. And let's say you have a
YOLO.
little thing here. Dude, like cursor is like, okay, fine, you just put console log, right? What's interesting
Yeah.
is that this is now available on the chat agent. which means from either any other agent or because it's a Cloudflare Workers regular project. By the way, that's the fun thing here. Like this
Yeah.
works in existing Cloudflare Workers project. It's not a new thing. It's just a library. You will be able to const chat agent equals env dot chat get agent by name. Uh, let's say Sunil, sure. And
Uh-huh.
you import that.
So that would be your instance. It would
That
create
would
a
be
new
the
one or give you
exact
one, right?
exactly.
Yep.
It basically like spins up one, and then you can say
Yep.
chat.send email. Like you are able to call functions on an
Wow.
agent from the outside, and you can do this from
How,
another agent, or you can do this from anywhere else. Like that's the fun thing. These are just regular JavaScript classes that you can call functions on, and it'll like just
and that's making use of the RPC that's available in the durable object, the
exactly.
remote
Here it's
procedure
using
call. Right.
RPC. That's
Right.
exactly right. JavaScript RPC, a thing with durable objects and the whole workers ecosystem. Feel free to find the docs for it. But
Yeah.
that's what it is. So that's what the
Yeah.
library and the starter kit let you do right now. And when you're ready, all you say is npm run deploy. By the way, this entire app is like I mentioned, it's a Vite app with like React. You can use. We're going to bring support for our new Vite plugin out to every framework, SvelteKit, SolidStart, all of that over the next few weeks. Weeks? I don't know. Like
Nice.
as soon as we can. It takes a little work to get there. But right now, you can build a simple single page app, deploy it onto the Cloudflare network, everything you love about Cloudflare, which means that all your other resources, right, like your D1 database, KV,
Yeah,
all
yeah,
of
yeah.
that is
Let's
just
go a little slower on that. Go a little slower on that. You got you've got a joint database that they could all each one of them has their own database, but you also have a scalable D1 database that everybody can get to.
that's right.
We
Cloudflare comes
have
with a little edge
dude,
database
we have
called
that we have
D1,
KV
key
too
value
that you
store.
could also
Again,
share across really quick.
and that's replicated. It's a little KV store. Sorry, share what?
Oh no, I was saying let's just talk about what the stack is really quick too, because
Sure.
you get more
Like
things.
we talk
You get
about the
more.
features, okay? Like all the
Yeah.
products on the Cloudflare Workers platform. Let's see what all I can remember. So D1 is a SQL database, which is different
Yeah.
from the database that you see inside a durable object.
Right. So
There's
shared.
KV. It's shared exactly like
Yeah.
anything. There's KV, which is a key value store where the values can be 25 MB big, sure, but that is replicated across the planet. There's our object store, which is R2, which
Hmm.
is for usually for very big files, but you can
Yeah.
put small files in it as well. There's vectorize, which is our vector database, and we should have a whole
Right.
session on just vector databases and RAG systems sometime. Would work
For sure.
great with Cloudflare agents. Uh, there's caches, there's Cloudflare images, there's durable objects, of course.
The
Uh,
real-time stuff, there's
uh,
real-time calls,
what
right?
real-time calls? Oh, calls.
Real
So
time.
the audio
Yeah.
video, we have a WebRTC with Cloudflare
Yeah.
calls, of course. And that's a demo that we should get to. Imagine building
Man.
audio video Cloudflare agents. Oh,
Oh, I can't wait.
dude, there's so
I
much to
can't wait.
build, bro. Oh my
There's so
God.
much input stuff coming in. And we have all the
Right.
models hosted too. We have the Workers AI models hosted
We
too,
have
right? So
Workers
like
AI on, as of today, you can write good function calls and structured output, etc. with it.
I'm
Like
so
we
excited
finally
for that.
got that to work. Uh, dude, like the developer platform is massive, dude. Like it'll take a
Yeah.
lot of time to
Yeah.
like dive into it.
And the cool thing is you can bring all that other stuff in, right? Like you could bring other APIs in and other things like that.
We call it
You
the
can bring in your own
we call it the
hyperdrive is
connectivity cloud for a reason. You want to connect to
yeah.
OpenAI models. You want to connect to something on AWS. You want to connect
Yeah.
to a little box that you put underneath like your table that you host a server on because you're a big ass nerd. Like go for it, bro. Like that's what the workers platform is for. And that's what it's meant
Awesome.
for. Right.
Awesome. So you know,
So
let's start wrapping this up. And I would like to say that like, you know, that we
can I stop
love
sharing my
you.
screen?
Yeah, yeah, please, please.
Right.
We love watching you build and cook stuff with this. We would love to see you share with us what you end up building with this, and make it loud and come out and share with us. Do a dry run. We would love to have you go and install this. And if you could, if you could go ahead and we have a question actually. Let's just share this really quick.
Sure.
curious why we're using OpenAI instead of one of the workers' AI models in the agent starter, which is a great question.
Uh,
Um,
Two
I-
reasons. One is people
yeah,
are, I wanted to show that you can connect to any model, like any
yeah,
external model.
right,
It's basically bring your own model, right?
right.
The other one, and this is the thing that we actually need to fix, is Workers AI right now doesn't work well with the Wheat plugin, which I like using for building front end apps. And we're just so close to like fixing it. We'll fix it. And I suspect, when that happens, I'm going to replace OpenAI, I think, with Workers AI in the starter kit. Because it'll
Yeah,
be
yeah,
nice and all self
yeah,
contained, right? No
yeah.
API key, no nothing. I
Yeah,
can
you know,
very
one of the
easily
things, one other thing that I realized that we forgot there is the AI gateway, right? So like the AI gateway, you maybe we should run that, at least run that through AI gateway so you can see what's happening, you can see the tokens that are coming, see what evals are happening. You can make sure that the agent is working well there, right? So like run it through
Mhm.
the gateway. Yeah, yeah,
The AI gateway
cool.
is, I always call it the sleeper hit of the Cloudflare platform.
Oh, for
It
sure.
takes about,
Yeah.
and by the way, the AI gateway is not just for Workers AI, it's for using external AI models, OpenAI, Anthropic, all of that. And it takes about less than 5 minutes to set up. I say 5 minutes, but it's like less than 5 minutes, and you forget about it. And you get caching for free, observability. You can do like prompt manage. There's just so much fun stuff there. That is the
Yeah,
sleeper hit. Just you watch. That is going to be
for sure.
a
And
huge
it's
thing.
growing like, oh, you can do that now?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Dude,
some
see,
some
I
really
tried it
cool
because
stuff
I was
coming.
bored one evening and the way my eyes popped out. Like, seriously.
Awesome. So, uh, oh, the repo. Let's get the repo up really quick too,
Uh,
because I would love everybody to give it a star, and
Please.
everybody go build something. Go get
Oh,
this
wait, no,
thing.
no.
Push it out.
It's
You
it's
will enjoy
GitHub
this.
Cloudflare agents. GitHub.com
GitHub. Oh, slash. Well, that was easy to remember. Let me drop
slash
that out
Cloudflare slash
there.
agents. Yeah.
Yeah, give
Oh,
that a
I love this.
star.
This image, by the way, of course, I got an LLM to generate it for me. I like how it's a
Oh,
network and it's
your
clearly the
screen's not up.
shape of a brain. Huh?
Your screen's not up.
Oh, my screen is not shared right now. I'm going to share it again because I do want to show. Uh, Sorry, I was, of course, I keep forgetting this. Um, this is the repository, github.com/cloudflare/agents. You can start it, you can watch it. If you watch it, you should know that I commit like a lot and often, and you might get annoyed. But definitely start it. I feel good when that happens. And an LLM generated this image for me. It got the colors right, the orange from color. It did this
Cool.
diagram, which is clearly of like a network of things, but also it's in the shape of a brain in the middle. I just love
Oh,
this,
from the
dude. Like
top.
LLMs
That's
are getting so
cool.
good. Yeah, it's so
Dude, I think
nice.
that's your shirt. I think that's your shirt.
Oh, I should make a shirt with this. This is the swag. Yeah, this is the agent swag. Yeah, sure. You can go here. So we are going to build out high quality guides. So there's the Anthropic 5 patterns of routing example here implemented with agents. In fact, I need to, dude, there's so many features of agents we didn't even go through. We have state sync.
I know.
So instead of writing
Yeah.
your own raw WebSocket messages, you just do like set state in the agent and it'll
Oh,
synchronize
it's
like
so nice.
with a React front end. It's like so easy. And you can edit it from the front end and it'll synchronize on the back end. Ah, anyway, so there are guides. There are guides for the human in the loop example. There's the anthropic patterns. I have a little playground that I'm using to build other stuff in here. So right now there are examples for the state sync and how the scheduler works. So you can copy some code from here. Uh, and there are two packages. The first one, of course, is the Agents SDK that we just announced today. And another one, which I managed to do today because it's so nice to do, is an official middleware for the Hono.js framework. So nice. Shout out to
Oh,
Yusuke, my guy.
I
Uh,
love this.
right? It's a little middleware that you can use to add AI agents to your Hono.js app. It's so good.
So cool.
Uh, so this is the repository. Then of course there are the docs which Matt and Rita and like a bunch of people have been working on nonstop. We'll be updating this furiously as we keep adding like features and stuff. So you should definitely keep an eye on that. And
Yeah.
oh, by the way, you should follow uh, this dude. He's very handsome and smart. He's 3.1 on Twitter. Talks about AI all the time, so you should absolutely follow this guy too.
Absolutely. I love following that, and I love keeping your thoughts coming, man, in there about like where this is headed, because I feel like you're talking about stuff that people aren't talking about. And I love it. I would love to bring that. I would love to keep on bringing this Dream Tech Bro podcast for you to let's do this.
So there's one question on Twitter. Someone asked me, and it's like Craig won't ask me questions. Can you create an agent per customer similar to durable object stub from ID? So one agent can be spun out to millions of instances, each with their own state. Yes. In fact, as I mentioned, Cloudflare agents are durable objects, just like with superpowers. Honestly, I just copied a bunch of stuff from PartyKit and stuffed it into Cloudflare agents. But yes, the idea absolutely you can spin up millions of these things and it'll work like really well. You should do that, in fact.
And pricing. We're not gonna talk
Uh,
about it yet.
so pricing is if you're using the nice Cloudflare Workers does CPU pricing, which is they charge you only for CPU instead of dead air. Durable objects right now does charge you for wall clock, but the trade-off here is that, of course, inside one durable object you can be doing many things concurrently, so it kind of like amortizes. Uh, there are different phrases for uh, basically like concurrent programming inside a durable object. That being said, I have to tell you, I don't really like that style of pricing for durable objects, and we may or may not fix that very soon. We might have something better
Okay.
soon.
All right. That sounds good. No spoilers. Everybody, thank you. Sunil, thank you so much for coming. Thank you for building this amazing framework.
Craig,
Amazing.
we still have to go through the demo that you've built, but we can do that in the
Let's
next session if you'd like.
let's
Or
do
yeah.
that in the next show. I'll get it further. I will do a dry run of that. We're coming up on the on time here. Time
Okay, so wait,
expands,
just
right?
quickly before we get on time, I want to let the crowd know this was an hour long, but me and Craig are going to do this way more often for like shorter periods of time. I will
Yeah.
not let someone else be the only person on a podcast named Dry Run. I have to be on it.
Thank you everybody for attending the first episode and watching this later. And thank you, Sunil, for being here. Go build. Go have fun with this. This is really awesome. This is an incredible tool. We are in a wild time, and you should be a part of it. And we hope that you're able to do so. So thank you, everybody.
Hey,
We'll see you
thanks, Craig.
soon.
Thanks, everyone. See ya. Are you okay?
Nice, dude. That was
Was
really
that
good.
fun? I'm so sorry we
That
didn't
was
get
really
to your
fun.
demo. I kept like